I think one of the craziest examples of this is in New York, for example, there's a different tax rate on toasted bread versus untoasted bread. So it can get unbelievably complicated.
Hi everyone, I'm Chewy and I work with Cookie Finance. At Cookie Finance, we specifically support content creators and influencers with their accounting needs. That means bookkeeping, tax strategy, and both their business and personal tax returns. One big question we constantly get is, how do I navigate sales tax, especially if I sell my own products and merchandise? And here's the honest answer. While we handle income tax and ongoing accounting for creators, sales tax is actually a specialized area. It's complex, it changes by state, and it's a completely different system from income tax. That's exactly why we're excited to partner with experts who live and breathe this every single day. So today, I'm joined by Ben from Kintsugi, a platform that helps businesses, including creators, automate and manage their sales tax compliance. So Ben, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and tell people about Kintsugi.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Ben, I work with Kintsugi, and at Kintsugi, we work with creators and operators who are selling their own products, merchandise through various different channels to automate their entire sales tax lifecycle by determining where they've reached Nexus, along with registrations and filings.
That's awesome. So the big question we have to start is just like, what is the difference between sales tax and income tax?
That's a good question. So when you think about income tax is based off of your personal income, and it's generally done about once a year. Sales tax, once you reach the thresholds to pay sales tax in various jurisdictions, you have to pay sales tax on any transaction that you have within that jurisdiction. So it happens a lot more frequently, and normally you have to remit it at the end of every month or every quarter.
And then I guess, does that threshold change depending too?
It does. It does. So it depends on the state that you are selling into. The number that I like to tell people is generally $100,000, but there are so many different rules that can trigger Nexus thresholds within the different states. That's why you need a product that automates the entire process for you.
And I guess with that in mind, I guess, is there a range between that threshold? Like what would be the lowest versus the highest?
There isn't really a range of thresholds. Generally, the thresholds start at about $100,000 within the US, and for the most part, that's what the threshold is in every single state. Some states, like California, have a $500,000 threshold. New York is $250,000, and some states also have transaction thresholds. So even if you are not reaching that $100,000 mark, sometimes if you are reaching 200 transactions within a jurisdiction, that's going to act the exact same as a $100,000 threshold, and you will be required to remit and pay sales tax on all your transactions.
So with that in mind, when do creators have to pay sales tax?
With creators, we're seeing a lot of creators act as operators within their Shopify stores, Amazon stores, and this is going to become a much larger issue whenever you have a growth event. A growth event, by our definition, is any sort of funding round. Whenever you release new products, if any of your sales within new jurisdictions increase drastically, these are going to make all of the rules that you have to follow within various jurisdictions much more complicated. And then that's when you want to hire someone else to take care of all that for you.
So what would be some of the challenges that creators and influencers face with sales tax?
The main challenge would just be managing your sales tax remits within all the various jurisdictions. In 2018, there was a Supreme Court case that mandated that once you reach those Nexus thresholds that we were talking about, you're required to abide by that specific state's laws for the products that you are selling. It's just unreasonable, especially if you're selling in 40 to 50 states, for you to research and do all of the correct tax application on each of your products within each state. That's where automation comes in. And that's where we have a product and a software that will take care of all of the correct sales tax calculations and remittance for your business, or all of your businesses combined.
Wow, so I had no idea that each state has its own thing going on. So if you sell a product in Montana versus California, you'd be subject to different laws.
Exactly. And I think one of the craziest examples of this is in New York, for example, there's a different tax rate on toasted bread versus untoasted bread.
What?
So it can get unbelievably complicated. And as you're running a business, it's just not something that you should be focused on. As an operator, you should be focused on growing your business. Let us take care of the sales tax.
That makes sense, especially for creators. Like, they don't go
Exactly.
into this business to be worried about whether their bread's toasted or not.
Exactly, exactly. And as you're selling on e-commerce and as you're doing business in many different states, normally, historically, you would have to hire CPAs in each one of those states to then take care of your sales tax liabilities.
Wow.
That can get extremely expensive very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's already such a challenge to find a CPA on your own.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so totally understand that.
Yep.
So I'm amazed by this toasted bread thing. Like, what are some other unexpected factors that make sales tax complicated?
hmm So, the main thing that makes sales tax complicated is that every state, city, and jurisdiction is able to charge sales tax in their own unique way. So, you might be selling a product within a city, but based off the jurisdiction or the county that you are selling within, that can change based off of the street address that you are located at. So, it's very difficult to know the exact tax rate that you are supposed to be charging on a specific item unless you have the exact address that you are selling to. So, it's just extremely complicated and it's not worth your time to take care of.
So is that address based on, like, we're dealing with content creators here,
Mhm.
they have their different address, or is that more of the address of where they're shipping their product?
That's a great question. So it's your bill to address or your ship to address. So with Kintsugi, what we'll do is we'll ingest your information from Shopify, Amazon, Walmart, QuickBooks. We have a lot more integrations, but those are just some of the larger ones that we work with. We'll ingest your information at a read only level, determine where you've sold all of your products and where you've sold into the various jurisdictions, determine when you've reached Nexus, and then start filing and remitting on your behalf. So our software will take care of all of the address validation and determining Nexus for your businesses.
So what are some of your favorite wins from creators using Kintsugi?
I think my favorite wins from creators using Kintsugi are people who are able to successfully take care of their sales tax compliance without putting a huge strain on their current workload. It is a very difficult topic to be able to bring up, especially for someone who has not started registering and filing in a lot of the states that they might be exposed. If you can just connect your data sources via direct integration to Kintsugi and then have us take care of all back filings, current filings, and get your business fully compliant, it is a huge weight off the shoulders of a lot of our operators and creators that we work with. And it's just such a huge relief to be able to help them in this way.
Yeah, 100%. Because we can't stress enough, like, when you go into content creation, it's like you are doing so much beyond just making content. Like, you're
Mhm.
truly running a business at that point. And as soon as you bring in, like, digital products, anything you're shipping out, and all of that stuff, it just, like, it becomes a more complicated job because those are different jobs. And there's only really one person there handling it until they can afford to hire more help, right?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the beauties of AI and what it's allowed us to do. Normally, you would have to hire a team for this sort of work, and you would
Hmm.
have to hire a CPA, and you would have to hire a bunch of different people who are taking care of the sales tax process on your behalf. With Kintsugi, if you wanted to, you could automate the entire process of registering and filing your sales tax remits and have it all done in the background, where you can just check in with our system once a month, make sure that everything's being done correctly, and then you'll be fully compliant as a business. There's no need to get an entire team working behind you when you can just do it yourself.
Yeah, that convenience is
hmm
optimal.
Yes.
So let's go through kind of the enrollment process, right? Like, how does Kintsugi work once creators sign up?
hmm So when a creator initially signs up, they're going to want to connect their various data sources to Kintsugi. We have the ability to connect multiple different data sources like Shopify, Amazon, Walmart, QuickBooks. At this point, we'll ingest your historical information from these data sources and determine where you've reached Nexus historically and where you're approaching the thresholds moving forward. At this point, we'll work with you and your team to determine which states that you want to get fully compliant within. Obviously, we recommend everywhere, but it's up to you as an operator how you want to proceed. At that point, we can start registering you within all the various states that you're exposed or approaching the threshold for Nexus, and then file for you at the correct cadence. So, unfortunately, we are at the mercy of the state when it comes to the filing frequency. Generally, it's about quarterly to monthly. So, we can automate that entire process of registration to remitting your sales tax remits, full cycle.
That's awesome. And then I guess it sounds like this is mostly US based sales tax, or do you also deal with customers selling overseas?
We are live in 106 countries globally right now.
Wow.
So while US might be the most complicated, it is not the only jurisdiction or country that we are able to take care of.
That's good to know. So I guess another big question here is like, do you feel like creator confidence in regards to how they make money and navigate the creator economy is going up? Like, are they more confident doing these things?
Absolutely. I think once you have a team behind you that is giving you the right information and is not just working as a salesman or a SaaS company, but a true advisor to your business, it can give you so much more confidence with sales tax. Sales tax is complicated, it's scary, and frankly, it's really boring. It's not something that people want to take care of, but it's an absolute necessity for your business to move forward and thrive. So I can comfortably say that we work with many people who consider themselves solopreneurs, solo entrepreneurs, who are able to take care of the entire life cycle of their sales tax from their computer as a solo entrepreneur. So yes, it does change, and the confidence of creators has gone up when it comes to sales tax.
Yeah, and I do think creators need that support. They need people who understand kind of the struggles of running a business and the complications of running a business. And, you know, that offloads all of that work so they can focus on their favorite part of the job too.
Exactly. And that, like we were saying before, you don't get into sales and you don't start selling a product because you love doing all the back end work for it. If you can
Yes.
find a way to save time, to save money, and then focus all those efforts on selling the product and growing your business, you're going to get more use out of Kintsugi, and you're going to be happier because your business is growing.
Yeah, that's great. And it's growing while you're doing all your favorite parts of the job too.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Ben, thank you so much for breaking this down. It was really awesome having you here. And I know sales tax can be overwhelming, especially as creators diversify their products and merch. So I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me, Chewy.
Yeah. And for everybody else, if you want support with your taxes this year, your ongoing bookkeeping, tax strategy, your entity setup, or even just to know what your next steps should be, we'd love to talk. Book a call with our team using the link in the description. We'll help you figure out what makes sense for your business. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Tax, bookkeeping, and accounting services exclusively for content creators and influencers. That's Cookie Finance.